One of my favorite authors, Napoleon Hill, said, "A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits." One of the things that we really have to understand is that failure is inevitable. It's something that we cannot escape. I remember the first time I failed at something. I was 11 years old. I was in grade 6 at that time, and that was the stage where we complete our exit exam to go to high school. And I remembered when my mom came into the door, she looked at me and she said, "You failed." And I cried like a baby. I will never forget that time. I cried like a baby. I couldn't believe that I failed the exams. To be honest, I wasn't shocked, but I think in my head, I was going to pass because for the years I have been in primary school, I have never failed. I always passed to go to another grade. And I really did this without much effort. I enjoyed spending time with my friends. I loved playing. That was my thing. And so when I got my results and I heard that I failed, I was so shocked. I was so sad, but it did not break me. It made me realize that failure will come no matter what. Failure is no respect of persons. And that was an eye-opener for me. I wanted to prove to myself that I can be successful. And so when I entered secondary school, when I entered high school, my attitude in primary school that I had in primary school, I didn't take that attitude to high school. I worked, I studied, I listened, I applied. And so I brought that through my life. Now, I still encountered failure, but it drove me to really work harder, because what I realized is that once I was able to overcome that failure, on the other end, there was success. Napoleon Hill said, "If the first plan which you adopt does not work successfully, replace it with a new plan. If this plan fails to work, replace it in turn with another." Imagine a child running, laughing, and just having fun. And then in an instant, the child falls. The child may cry, the child may not. But give that child at least an hour or probably a couple of minutes, and you're going to see that same child running again, laughing and just enjoying him or herself. I think sometimes we need to be like kids. When we fall, we get up, we smile, and we keep going. So the question is, how can we become successful through failures? And I am going to share with you some tips that have really helped me throughout the years. Tip number 1, learn to accept failure. Sometimes we looked at persons who are millionaires and we envy them, which really we should not. We envy them and we say things like, "I wish that can be me," how things are so easy for them. Sometimes people make that comment, but they don't see what happened behind closed doors, or I should say, they did not see what that person had to do to get there. They did not see all the failures that millionaire went through in order to get to that point in their life. So the faster you're able to accept the failures, then the closer you are to becoming successful. Take a lesson from every failure. There is a lesson from every failure. And the lesson that you gain from failing, it makes you stronger. It makes you stronger, and it makes you better be able to serve people. Because if you don't fail at certain things, you're not going to be able to tell people that story, to tell people how you were able to solve that problem. You need to fail at something in order to learn at it and become better at that thing. Another tip is be willing to learn from others so that you can become better at your craft. I've always hated a know-it-all. I don't like to be around people who feel or who act as if they know it all. And I have been in teaching for 13 years, and I have really come across a few teachers who act as if they just know it all and their answers are always correct. They don't want to listen to others. They are so into their point that they ignore other person's point because they are convinced that their answer is correct. So never be a person who is not willing to learn. Never be that person that you're so experienced that you can't learn from others. Another thing is to be patient. Stop looking at others and focus on yourself. Success is not always immediate. Sometimes it just takes time. And so if you're willing to be patient and learn along the way, success will be at the end. While you're working towards your success, take the time to become master at what you're doing. Sometimes you don't get that success immediately because you're still in the learning process. And very, very important, keep away from negative people. Keep away from those people who will tell you that you can't do it. Keep away from people who will tell you just give up and move on. Stay away from negative people who will not uplift you. Stay away from people who will not motivate you. Those are people who will just keep you stagnant within life. You don't want to be 5 years later and say to yourself, I wish I had. I wish I had. Instead of saying, I wish I had, 5 years later, you should be saying, I did, I did, I did. Fail forward and success will be at the end.